We at UMT value the essence of leadership, commitment, and collaboration. And today is certainly a lucky day for us, because today, with us, we have a man of leadership who exemplifies integrity, fairness, and innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, the founder of Packages Limited and Lahore University of Management Sciences, Honorable Syed Babar Ali. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have another well-renowned educationist with us, a man carrying on the legacy to better the lives of others and the state of society at large. Give a huge round of applause to President UMT, Mr. Ibrahim Hassan Murad. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to request Dr. Sohail Qureshi, who is a renowned educationist in our very own School of Sciences, to join us on the stage and take over the enriching conversation with Mr. Babar.
His immeasurable contributions towards education, promoting public good and social equity have led him to becoming an elected member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. And in doing that, he joins a remarkable group of people that include the Albert Einstein, Abdus Salam, Nelson Mandela, Albert Einstein, and many others. I've known Babar Sahib for over 12 years, and I worked very closely with him while I was the Dean of School of Science and Engineering. Those were memorable days. This handsome, smartly dressed man would show up in the school every now and then, full of ideas. He would be asking about the quality of education, how the students are doing, and in particular, those students hailing from the less privileged backgrounds. And I think that's a concern that continues. And a lot of ideas, a lot of new initiatives. So this remarkable individual is an endless source of ideas and energy. He's been there, done that, still doing it, still is a very busy individual. If you were to look at his diary, you'd be surprised that his commitments, everything, the day is just a regular day. It's a 9 to 5 and sometimes 9 to 9 kind of a day for him. So that's, I think, remarkable. And today we're going to spend about 75 minutes with Syed Babar Ali Sahib. That's not enough time, obviously, but we're going to be fielding questions from the students. So we have a lot of students here. This is an interaction where we encourage the students to come, and most of the audience is comprised of students, so they'll be asking questions. But if you want to know deeper about his life, his interactions, his experiences, then I encourage you to give this book a read, Learning from Others. It's quite a title, actually. And so today we are going to learn from the learned. A lot of years, a lot of things have happened, and all of it is stored within this remarkable persona that is sitting here today. It's a happy day for all of us. So, sir, aapka shukriya aane ka. Thank you for gracing this happy occasion. We're delighted to have you. So, as I said, this will be a 75-minute interaction. I will start off with a couple of questions, and then I'll open the floor to students. If you have questions, by all means, ask them. I would like to take you back maybe to the early 80s, late 70s. That was a period when you had started thinking about starting LUMS. So I would like you to share with the audience what was going through your mind at that time. What was your vision and mission of LUMS when you started the whole organization?
I was born in Lahore. I was educated here. Right from kindergarten at Sacred Heart and Edson College, and then Government College. And then This was in 1945 when I graduated from Punjab University in BSc. And then because the family was involved in business and our business was connected with the British Army, so at that time nobody ever thought that the British would ever leave. So my family, I was keen to go to America to study business administration because this was a new subject which was not well known anywhere else than in America. So I applied to various universities. The University of Michigan was the first one that sent me an admission, and I went there for a year. My family said, you don't have to have another degree because you got one and you got to come and work in the family. So I spent a year in America and I came back and started family business, and I had the opportunity to embark on a new journey for the family to set up a company called Packages Limited, which was a joint venture with the Swedish group that today owns Tetra Pak. And I worked there for about 20 years, and then in 1973, I had an opportunity to go to Harvard Business School to attend the Advanced Management Program, which was a program for the senior management before they were given big responsibility in any organization. And I came back after 4 months at the Harvard Business School, and before I went there, I thought I knew everything about management, but there I realized that there was very little, that there's much to be learned. And because you were learning from your peers who were attending it, there were people from top companies of the world, including from the American Armed Forces, and there were people with 20 years work experience minimum. And I came back, and soon there, and this was the time when Mr. Bhutto had nationalized industries, and he had nationalized a number of companies belonging to our family. And in 1974, he decided that I should be nationalized, so I was asked to set up the Fertilizer Corporation. And at that time, many of the nationalized industries, and some of the larger ones, they got people from multinationals, mostly multinationals, ICI, Mama Shell, and other companies to come and manage those companies. And so the nationalization went fairly well in the sense that these were really trained people who had spent their lives in managing good organizations, so they were able to make a good contribution. And I had this opportunity to set up the Fertilizer Corporation. I worked there for 4 years, and I realized that, you know, some good managers are born, but most good managers need to be trained. And when I came back from my assignment with the government, I told them that I'll only serve for 3 years, but it took me a year to get out. And I realized that, you know, within our own organization Packages, we were very lucky because of our Swedish collaboration. We could train our people. I used to send about 25 to 30 of our senior managers to Sweden for training. And I said, what about people who do not have this opportunity? So that is when the idea of setting up a business school patterned on the Harvard Business School came to my mind. Because after I went to Harvard, I was totally sold on this idea of you know, teaching by the case method, where you were made to think for yourself. So, when I decided on this, I thought this should be a joint effort. It should not be a one-person effort. So I called up Mr. Razak Daud. At that time, he was managing director of Daud Hercules. And I knew that he had been to Columbia, and then I knew that he was teaching at the Punjab University in the School of Management, Business School. So I called up Mr. Razak Daud, and he came over, and I said, this is what I want to do. Would you collaborate with me? And he said, of course. And then, of course, I got hold of Dr. Parvez Hassan, who was a distinguished lawyer who had been to Yale and Harvard. He got his PhD from Harvard. And I said, would you help us structure this whole thing together? So this is how we embarked on this journey, and Then, of course, during my time at the Fertilizer Corporation, Javed Hamid, who was then working for the Planning Commission, he used to come often to monitor and audit us. I knew that he had been to the Harvard Business School. So meanwhile, he had joined the World Bank, their organization called the International Finance Corporation, IFC. I used to go to Washington quite frequently in those days. So I met him and I said, we are thinking of this. And he said, it's a very good idea. And I said, will you help us set it up? And he said, well, I'm working for the World Bank. Can you get me leave from here? I knew people in the World Bank and I got him leave for 4 years. So he came and sat in my office, next door to my office, and we did the whole planning, and then it's history. Then Mr. Bhutto's government had gone, and Mr. Ziaul Haq's government was there, and I knew that General Ziaul Haq, he used to frequently call me up, and I went to see him, and I said, we want to set up this university, and want to set up a business school. And he said, what do you want? And I said, we want charter so that we are totally independent of all the regulations. We want to have our own ability to have our own syllabi, our own method of teaching, our own regulations. And the second thing I said, if anybody gave us money, we would like him to write it off as an expense. And the third thing we want, the President of Pakistan should be the Chancellor. He said, do you want any land? I said, no. Any money? I said, no. Nothing else. And he said, given. And you'll be surprised that within 3 weeks we got the permission to do all those 3 things. And then I was asked to go and see his Minister of Education, Dr. Afzal, who was a very kind person. He said, why do you want to set up a business school? Why don't you set up a university? Because we've just given a charter to Aga Khan University, and we will take their charter and see what is relevant to the business school, and we will give you all the same facilities as we have given to Aga Khan. And this is how LUMS was created, and then we started. Javed Hamid did all the legwork, and of course we went back to Harvard, and I met the dean of the business school, and I said, can we collaborate with you? He said, no, we've had a very bad experience in Switzerland. We don't want to collaborate with anybody. I want to just concentrate on this campus. But if any of our if any of our faculty want to assist you, I will have no objection. So I was very lucky. I knew 2 of the faculty members that I had interacted with while I was at Harvard. One was Professor Jim Austin, and the other was Lou Wells. And so I invited them over, and they helped us make the blueprint of how we go about. The first question was, you have to decide the method of teaching. Is it going to be lecture method, or is it going to be by the case method? Because the whole building and the whole concept of the school will depend on that, your hiring of faculty and all that. So we opted for the case method, and this is how we went, and by the grace of God, it's developed.
And I know that, like I said, nothing makes Babar Sahab happier than some graduate from a less privileged background going to places like Harvard and Yale. That's a poverty cycle that, you've been able to break in many cases. And I think there's a lot to celebrate over there.
There's a famous quote by Allama Iqbal. उस कौम को शमशीर की हजात नहीं रहती हो जिसके जवानों की खुदी सूरत फुलाद. Do you think in the current landscape of Pakistan, does the youth have a Surat Fulad? If no, then why, please?
Youth has to equip itself with the right kind of skill, knowledge, passion, ethics, integrity, honesty, hard work. So that's it's a fantastic asset, and people who are young, and there are tens of them in this room, hundreds of them in this room. So you are the future of Pakistan, but you have to work for it. You won't get anything without work. You have to apply yourself, you have to have sleepless nights working, sweat it out, earn the spurs. You'll not get anything without effort. So this is something that everybody has to do. At the age of 96, I'm sitting before you. I go to work every day. Why do I work? Not to earn money, but to try and help people. So you have to have that kind of desire and passion and ability to be of service to somebody.
Sir, his student is asking कि our honorable president, आपकी पहली मुलाकात हुई है?
Good things that this great organization is doing. I tried to learn something about it from the website, but that's only a fraction of what I learned this morning. And the thousands of students that are benefiting from the effort and largesse of this of your current president and the family, you can't be thankful enough. You can't thank them enough for what they are doing. And what I will tell him is that whatever they are doing is not enough. You have to do more.
Right.
Thank you,
And
sir.
because the country needs people like you.
Definitely.
And education, as we discussed earlier on, is the only way that this country can go forward.
So how do you believe the world has transformed in the matter of connections and in the matter of network building? And how do you think that has helped you in your life as well? Your network and your connections? And how important do you think it is to have a good business and have something to make your to fulfill your vision?
To how you deal with people, how humble you are, how friendly you are, how ethical you are, how easy you are how approachable you are. So these are things that you need to work on. You don't get it. You don't get network just by working towards it. It's the end result of all these efforts. When people recognize that meeting you may be of some use to them or to you. And I've never said no to anybody because I feel that every meeting that I have, I'm learning something from the person who comes to see me. And this is what I've done all my life.
So, mashallah, you have seen 3 generations grow up, and you have seen a lot of cultural change and change of values. So, is there anything you would want you to follow from the past, from past values or past culture that you think that would fit in among us or the value of or the youth of today?
It depends on the individual as to how keen, inquisitive, hungry is a person to learn of, whatever you at university level. My advice to you is broaden your knowledge as much as possible. If you're studying science, you should study literature. If you're studying literature, you should study science. I must tell you a story of a very good friend of mine. He was head of chemistry at the University of Chicago. He died a few years ago. I was in Chicago. I went to see him. He had retired, and I said, what is the latest? He said, we chemists feel that a good chemist should know Shakespeare. So, and that was, the lifelong learning of somebody who was head of chemistry at the University of Chicago. So my advice to all of you is certainly study the subject in depth that you are majoring in, but that should not, don't become a nerd. You should study Iqbal. You are all forced to read the Quran, but just don't read the Quran, study Quran also. Get the meaning of Quran. It's it's the basis of our religion. So by just memorizing some surahs of it is of no solution unless you understand what you're reciting. So my advice to you is, suggestion to you is that broaden your knowledge at this level, especially at the undergraduate level. Study Urdu, study Persian. We at LUMS have introduced Pashto, Punjabi, Arabic, Persian, and for everybody to have this option to take it as a minor, and because it makes a big difference.
Yes.
When I joined Aitchison College in 1934, half the students in that college, it was a school really, but it's known as a college, Persian was compulsory to everybody. The Hindus and the Sikhs were also learning Persian. Our first Persian teacher was a Sikh. And I can tell you, I left Aitchison almost 80 years ago. And the only thing I remember about Aitchison is what I studied was Persian. So it's something that lingers on with you, and it's been very helpful. Even today I have a book of Sadi lying next to my bed, because I find that there is so much wisdom in it. The more you read, the more you learn. So my suggestion and request to you is, this is really the most wonderful time of your lives. So take the best advantage, learn as much as you can, and get to know you can't be friendly with everybody in this room, but have a few friends and they'll be friends for lifetime. I was very lucky. My friends lasted, unfortunately, most of them are gone because I'm 97 today and many of them did reach this age. So the bonding, the friendship, and the learning that you have at the undergraduate level, it's a wonderful time of your life. So take full advantage of it.
So, Babar Sahib, if you could paint some color to the cultural evolution, what has been lost over the last several decades and what has been gained?
The other part of our learning has gone. Culture, to respect people, to be humble. People are putting a lot of emphasis on worldly wealth, showing off how much you have. Humility is gone. I remember, our teachers at Aitchison College, it was the premier institute of Pakistan, of northern India at that time. And our teachers, you found them in the same clothes, the same suit during winter, the same suit, the summer clothes. They were never the clothes are not, you have to neatly dress, but you don't have to change your dress every day or every month or every week. So, adab is gone. A study of your own literature. Iqbal used to be a part of our learning at Aitchison. For instance, we have what we call we had adab society, where we had poets to come in and talk to the students. We had Hafiz Jazandri coming there, and Harichand Akhtar came there, and all the leading poets and writers used to come and talk to us, to the students. We were in our teens. So I hope, I would suggest to the management here that you should get some of your scholars and poets and writers to come and share their thoughts with the students. Because what is written in the textbook, the student can read himself. The teacher has to teach which is not in the textbook.
Yeah.
So you've got to broaden your knowledge as much as possible and be inquisitive. That is very, very important to enrich your life, and nobody takes it away from you. So that would be my suggestion in life, and I'm just telling you what I have done myself, is to keep on being inquisitive. And the other thing which I'd like to suggest is that, Pakistan is a very rich country, right from the north to the south. And I would suggest to your management that you should arrange for students to tour around the country, to go and see northern areas, to see the Sindh desert, to see Mithi and other places, because traveling itself gives you a lot of information and knowledge of how rich this country is and what they can contribute, what opportunities there are for you to contribute when you grow up, when you graduate, and what you do next in life. So those are, and also while you are here, you should take the opportunity, and I would suggest to the administration here that they should visit industries over here in Lalpur, in Sialkot, in Multan, because those are, especially for the business school, it's very necessary that they should know how goods are converted and how wealth is being created, and what opportunity there is for you people to get a job next when you graduate from here.
Tell us about the structural barriers coming towards the youth entrepreneurship, and also how to overcome these barriers to ensure maximum youth engagement.
I don't think you should embark on being an entrepreneur without getting a job first. Get a job in a company where you know how to work. Get the work ethics first. Get the discipline of going to work on time and reporting to somebody. Then you think of something while you are working there as to why you should not create that kind of wealth on your own. But don't dream something while you're sitting in the classroom. So you have to earn your spurs by applying yourself and by learning from others.
I hope you're all taking notes of these golden nuggets that are being shared by Syed Babar Ali Sahab. These are lifelong experiences, and I think it's important.
How can someone deal with existential crisis when they are young? And have you ever dealt with one?
No, you have to be thankful for what you have. And then, of course, see how you can improve it yourself and work at it. Nothing comes without effort.
I think he was...
Don't worry about it. You and I can't solve it. Just pray for it.
At any stage in your life, did you ever go through
Well, yes,
that
of
period?
course, of course.
कि मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ, मैं कौन हूँ?
I mean, I've made hundreds of mistakes, but I've never looked back. You get on with something that is working and you just concentrate on that. Don't cry over spilt milk. So there is plenty of opportunities to do something better. And every mistake is a lesson. Anybody who's, what is experience? Experience is the accumulation of your mistakes. And anybody who's never made a mistake has never done anything in his life.
It's true.
So don't be scared of making a mistake. Don't be scared of taking a decision.
The new intent comes in the business. The only thing he raises that I don't have money. How we can mitigate this mindset? Of course, money is needed, but that is not a primary concern in starting the business. How this thing can be mitigated? How this thing can be reinforced? How this thing can be mitigated in the new business entrants?
Well, I mean, money is available from banks, from people who make their living by lending money. So if you want to go and borrow, if you have a good idea and you can convince somebody who has money, a bank, I mean, bank is there to lend money. They want people with a good idea and then lend money provided they know that they will get their money back. So you have to have a good plan. You have got to have and you have got to explain to the lender as to how you will return the money. But just asking for money, you won't get it. You have to have a plan. You have to have a plan as to what you will do with that money, how it will generate more money so that you can return the money to the person who has lent you the money.
Yeah.
And that's simple.
So the power of having an idea.
Yeah, I mean, you can have it. I mean,
yeah.
The Silicon Valley thrives on it. People have made billions in Silicon Valley because they came up with an idea and the people were willing to back that idea because they knew it might, you have to have a track record. And, the person who started Uber had failed 9 times before. And people were still willing to back him up because he said he's failed 9 times, so he's the most experienced person.
Yeah.
In America, they look at failure as an experience.
Yeah.
But you can't just start from zero and have an idea and go to the bank and say, give me money. They'll say, what do you want the money for? How will you return it?
This unique perspective of seeing both the organizations, UMT and LUMS. Over the last 20 decades, whenever you talk to someone who graduated 10 years before me, they said that we had a lot more to do than you had to do in your MBA. And then I came over here, and in the last last decade, I actually saw that the students' motivation in working towards getting that degree has decreased drastically. What started out was when we started giving them work in the start, they used to do it. Now, they have so many other engagements, they don't have the time. In one of the interviews, our president actually said that in a national TV, that the students' aim is now only getting that degree, not learning. So how do you encourage and foster an environment in which students get back towards education rather than just focusing on other extracurricular activities?
Convince them that their future lies in hard work. There's no shortcut to success in life. So, this is something that there is no shortcut. There is no way that you can get away in life without work. Unless you become a terrorist.
Yeah.
And there, you know how a terrorist ends up. So there is no substitute to work honestly and hard and with diligence, with integrity.
My question is that being the founder of LUMS and such a great businessman, such a successful businessman, how did you manage to maintain such a good mental health? Because having a lot of responsibilities always affect your mental health. So according to you, what is the elixir of life?
I'm always looking for somebody who's better than me and give this person responsibility and ownership. And delegation. Let the person get away if he's well equipped, he's honest, he's hardworking. There's nothing like it. Let him get on with the job. Leave him alone. That's how I've been working all my life. I do very little myself except work with people, try and think aloud with them, but it's finally their decision as to how they are going to implement the job.
Harvard Business School case by idea. So could you be so kind enough to please expand on that a bit?
There are 40 or 50 students. Each one has the liberty to discuss this case from his or her mind. And you are learning from each other because there is more than one way of skinning a cat. And there is no one solution to any problem. The case is written to throw up discussion in the classroom, whether it's on marketing or finance or human resources, whatever it is. And you discuss it, and you are asked to be a person who is taking a decision. What would you have done? So each one gives his or her own opinion, and then you are listening, you are learning, and then you you make up your own mind. There is no final result of at the end of the class. There are 10 ways of solving a problem, and this is what life is all about. So what we teach by the case method is to look at a thing, analyze, think as to how you would solve that problem. Give that challenge to you, so that you are able to apply your mind, and there is no written formula for success. That is why people give so much importance to a thinking person.
What are some of the failures in the corporate sector in Pakistan?
Failure, I mean, failure is not confined to Pakistan, failure is everywhere. Failure can be of failure of design, failure of wrong strategy, failure of lack of integrity. It can be 101 different reasons why business fails.
HSN में जैसे शोरा आते थे और आपसे बातें करते थे, मैं आपके यहाँ पे मौजूदगी के लिए शुक्रगुजार हूँ. मेरा सवाल ये है कि सैयद बाबर अली को सैयद बाबर अली किसने बनाया?
My teachers, my friends, anybody that I met has contributed to what little I have. Because my desire was, what can I learn from this person?
Do you think what factors have contributed to success in your life, and what is your advice to the youth?
Collaborators, colleagues to work with me in the business, and I've been able to trust them. They have been able to trust me. Work, devotion, loyalty, and so this is what life is all about. You can't buy loyalty. You have to give loyalty before you receive loyalty. You have to respect people before you command respect from anybody else.
Your biggest failure in life, and how did you overcome it?
I don't look at failures. I look at things that have gone right and just concentrate on them. There's no point of crying over spilt milk. What can you do about it?
So I actually wanted to ask if you have any advice for the women in the corporate sector or in general.
And what advice do you have for females?
Well, as the Chinese say, half the sky is held up by women. They are as important as anybody else. So we have to respect women. We have to give them every opportunity. And they are second to none. I mean, in this country alone, we've had a woman as the Prime Minister. So in India, with over 1 billion people, there was an Indian Prime Minister. So women, if they have the ability, they can go anywhere. They have to work hard. They have to be firm. And women are the creation of the next generation. They are the most valuable asset that any country has, any nation has. Yes. Give your children the right kind of values. That's the most important thing. That's your responsibility.
Do you think there's been a decline in the quality of parenting over the last, decades or so? The quality of parenting, the way the parents used to be and the way parents are.
Unfortunately, I mean, our society, especially among the more affluent people, they think that sending their child to an expensive school, their responsibility is over. And that is the last thing that any mother or father should do, is to spend. It's their responsibility really to make sure that the children are well mentored, because this is something, how the family is recognized, how well you are brought up. And bringing up doesn't mean that you have luxury. It means you have manners. Are you truthful? Are you humble? Are you modest? Are you respectful? We had a large family. I was number 8 in a family of 9. My mother insisted that she sees all my friends. When I was at HSN, though she was in Parda, all my friends she had to interview them before she said, iske ghar ja sakte ho, uske ghar nahi ja sakte. She took that much interest, and I can't thank her enough for what she did for me.
How do you balance your business interests with your social commitments, as you are a very influential and a very famous figure in society? Is there any recreational activity you do, or any hobbies or interests you have?
How to allocate your time. So it depends on how disciplined you are. And there's no formula for it. You should if you if you give time to somebody that you will be available, you must make sure that you are available. So those are things that need to be, you have to regulate yourself. It's not rocket science how to allocate time to different things. You have to see what you can manage, what is important. But one thing I'd like to stress on all of you who are sitting in this room is find time to take physical exercise. If you want to get to my age, this is the only way you can do it. गोलियां खा के आप नहीं तंदुरुस्त रह सकते. You have to, those of you who play games, those of you have other opportunities, you walk. I walked 1,500 steps before I came this morning here. I walked about 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day. I used to walk 10,000 steps before. It's not me, but you have to do it if you want to remain active and fit in life. My doctor tells me the exercise I take is better than any medicine he can give me. And it applies to each one of you. You can't ask your servant to go and walk for you. You have to do it yourself. So ये चीज़ें जो हैं, this is a part of नमाज भी जो है, that's a good exercise. अगर आप 5 वक्त की नमाज सही तरह पढ़ते हैं, तो there's plenty of exercise to be done there. Apart from the fact that, it gives you an uplift morally by saying your prayers. You're not doing any favor to anybody except to yourself.
Yes. Okay, I think the end of this. We wish we could have Babar Sahib here forever. It's been a wonderful hour with you, sir. Sir, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart.
I'd like to say a few words to thank all the students and the questions that came. I was very impressed with their depth and their width of the questions, and I've interacted with you. I spent some time with your president here, and I'm very impressed with the vast empire on education that he has created, and not for profit, which again is admirable. I'm very, very impressed.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I would like to thank Syed Babar Ali Sahab for taking out the time and engaging with the future of the country, with the youth of Pakistan, and guiding them, enlightening them, motivating them, and sharing his insights, his words of wisdom, his pearls of wisdom. And this session was so, let's say, I would like to say, moving, that if you live decades, if you live if you live other people's lives, only then you can get that sort of wisdom, that sort of ideas, that sort of conclusions. So I'm sure this session was very let's say fruitful for the students, and it was also very fruitful for myself, and we hope to host Babar Ali Sahab in the future again. And thank you so very much again for taking out the time and being with UMT students. Thank you.